Hi everyone, how's it going? I hope you're enjoying Vue.js Nation. I'm super happy to be here and share with you about TresJS. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is actually, what if I tell you that this is scene right here? There is like it's wizard Harry Potter kind of scene. It's entirely done by using Vue composables and components. So that's exactly what my talk is today, is how to create 3D experiences using TresJS, which is a custom render API for Vue. Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm gonna try to be short. Like, my name is Alvaro Sabu, and I'm a DevRel engineer at Storyblog. I am originally from Venezuela, but I live in Barcelona, Spain, and I'm constantly creating content in my networks in Alvaro Dev Labs, my YouTube channel. I have a blog and portfolio, a little bit outdated, but I will try this year to make some 3D out there. You can always say hi in my socials. They are all the same, Alvaro Sabo, as well in Mastodon. You can also find. So this kid right here was me. And yes, I don't know what happened, but since I was a kid, I have always loved video games. Okay. And to be fair, I still a kid. This is me playing Baldur's Gate with my cat, Gerald, which is also named as a famous Witcher. So we constantly playing PlayStation, and I come from my era where the golden era of these PlayStation games that went from the 2D to the 3D. So you had like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, even Hogwarts. Those graphics, like PS1 graphics in 3D, amazing ones. Look at this, Hagrid. So I always wanted to be actually a designer or like a game developer, but couldn't be because it was really expensive in Venezuela. So I ended up being like telecommunications engineer, and I left 3D from on a side, let's say. Okay. Then, in one point of my career, after being a front-end developer for a while, I came up with this 3GS, and because I thought that 3D was really for brilliant people, okay, like really gifted people, all these physics, transformations, mathematics, which in fact they are, but 3GS make it simple in the web. It's a JavaScript library that leverage using WebGL, which is the API on the browser, to render 3D scenes. And I found this 3GS Journey course by Bruno Simon that make me like wanted to learn this. So we have this scene here that was entirely done for the web. So in that time, there was nothing for 3D in Vue. Okay, there was Reactor Fiber in React. And when I finished the Bruno Simon course, I started working with Reactor Fiber, and I loved the way that you could declaratively create the scenes by using React components. So I really wanted to have the same for Vue, but at that time there were a few options, and they were not really maintained, and also they were pretty manual. So the idea of TresJS is a custom renderer that allows you to build the scenes in the same fashion. It's named tres because it's the Spanish word for three. It's pronounced tres, and it's reference to the 3GS library, of course. Since I'm Latin American and also the French word was already taken, I say, well, let's put it tres, right? So why Tres? The idea was to have something that was up to date with the latest 3GS with zero to none maintenance. Why is that? One of the issues that early libraries of Vue with 3GS had, it was that 3GS updates a lot. Okay, it's constantly updated. They have a huge community behind, so they are always creating and adding new features. So it was barely impossible to maintain a manual wrapper there. I wanted to also create something that was lightweight for the Vue users to use on their application, something that was verbose and easy. That you can, because 3D is a little bit intimidating. So if you use something like Vue that you are already used to and familiar with, like components, composable, the idea was to use that as an entrance for people to learn 3D. I want to be DX focused because honestly, DX in 3D is really, really low. It's really bad in general. Nowadays, with all these wrappers like this Trettle in Svelte and Reactive Fiber and Threads, the DX has improved, coming from imperative programming to declarative programming, and all the tools, for example, in Vue for the X, like Nuxt Dev tools and Vue Dev tools. We're going to see a little bit about that. Helps out achieving this goal. Um, Completely TypeScript support, something that the 3GS ecosystem sometimes struggles with. To be performant even with reactivity, this is barely no, it's majorly because we are using Vue.js under the hood for all the ecosystem, as well as we really picky. It's like what reactivity parts of Vue we use for this. And what I love the most is that it's ecosystem. So the idea will be not only one package, but an ecosystem of packages that help the Vue community to do more 3D stuff in the future. So how we get started? You can use pnpm npm, the package manager of your choice, and you can add a TresJS core, and you also add 3JS as a pure dependency, or you can play with it on our playground. So one of the cool features that we have this in this talk that I didn't had last year, for example, in other conferences, is that we already have a playground that you can visit. I'm gonna paste it on the stream in a little bit. Okay, it's actually like play. Let me see if I can do it in the chat. This is play TresJS.org. Okay, is there in the chat. And this is like a Vue like playground that you can create your own stuff. So for reproductions and to get started with it and examples, it's amazing. So here's the link for it. So to give you a little bit of an idea of how it works under the hood, 3GS works with a canvas. So everything is done in a canvas element. When you create this canvas in 3GS, like in plain 3GS, you will need to do a lot of stuff. In TresJS, it's as easy as importing the main component, which is the Tres canvas component, and add it here into the template, okay, as any other component. All your scene, all your different objects are going to live inside of that Tres canvas. What is important is that everything that is related to the 3D part needs to be inside of here. Then let's see how we can add an object. So normally I show the code here, but today I'm going to do something different. So I hope it doesn't go bad. I'm going to live code here on the Vue.js Nation. So wish me luck. I'm going to remove the things that are available there. And let's start by adding one component inside here. Okay. So every 3D instance that is available in 3GS can be used in Tres by prefixing the Tres prefix here. So I'm going to add a 3D helper. So this is like a grid. I don't know if it's visible. Let me know if it's not, but it's like a floor, okay? A grid helper floor. So as easy as this, I didn't need to import anything else. The custom render API will know that this is a grid helper from 3GS catalog, and it will render for us and add it to the scene. So that's what the whole magic is. For example, here I have a perspective camera, right? That allows you to see the scene that you have here. So sometimes you need to initialize those components. So we have a property called arguments, okay? And these arguments are exactly the same as the constructor parameters that you would use for 3GS, like any instance. So if you check the TypeScript, it will tell you like the order that you have. I don't know why the TypeScript is not available right now here, but if you're doing it in your local ID, it will show it to you. So you can add like, for example, the field of view, then the aspect ratio, and how close and how far. So these are like the arguments of the perspective camera that you can initialize it with. Okay. So every time you want to initialize any component, let's say here the directional or an ambient light, let's say press ambient light, you can initialize it with the arguments. It's an array, okay? And you pass here, I don't know, for example, the color or and the intensity. Okay, so intensity like color FFF, and then 1. Okay, then we can add or we can modify or transform that object using props. Okay, so one prop is the position, and the position is a vector, but you can use an array if I can write correctly. Okay, so let's say I want it to be far from the grid that we see here. I'm going to put 11, 11, 11 and try to save. Properties of undefined. So we have an error here. That's nice. Let me remove the ambient light. Okay, what's the ambient light? If I modify here and put like 5, 5, 5, you're gonna see that the perspective camera actually zoom into. Okay. Let's do something more fun than actual grid. So the next thing I'm gonna show you is how to create an object. So I'm gonna create a simple box, let's say, okay? So the way you will do it is by creating a TresMesh component. Just follow with me. I'm gonna explain all the parts in a moment. Then you can pass a tres box geometry, okay? We're gonna leave it with the default. So we already see like a box inside of our scene. And then we are going to add the material that we are going to use. So in this case, I'm going to use the best material for showcasing, which is the normal material that allows you to see the different sides of the geometry itself. So what did we did here? We have, I like to do the analogy with HTML and CSS, okay? So think of the geometry like the HTML, like the structure of all the points that creates this cube, okay? Or like the geometry of it. And then the material is like the CSS, everything like the color, if it's shiny, if it's transparent, if it has an alpha, all those visual properties that you can add. Okay, so that's how you combine both into something that we call a mesh. A mesh is a combination of both. Okay, notice here that we are passing these two as slots because it automatically will append them into the properties of the press mesh. You could also do something like this, like material, and just create your material here like you will do in normal like new mesh normal material, okay? How you will do it in TresJS, and you can pass it as a prop. You could do that, okay? But we are not gonna do it for the sake of the demo. So what else can we do? As well as we modify this one, like the position of it, let's do the same with our mesh. So let's use position and then just go a little bit up, right? So 0, maybe 2, maybe 0. So now we can see that our cube has go up a little bit. So the first one is the x-axis. The other one is the y and the zeta axis. If we get a little bit lost because sometimes finding yourself in the space is a little complicated, we can use the trace axis helper, I think it's called. So this one, maybe I will remove the grid because if not, it's gonna be tough to see. But here you have like some arrows that tells you where the axes are. So the X is the red, the theta is the blue, and so on. So here is the origin, the 0, 0, 0, and with this you can find where you have your like geometry. Okay. Something else before we finish the demo that I want to show you is that as any other Vue components, you can even create a subcomponent here. So I'm going to create a sphere component. Okay, and just a script. Um, Man, I'm so used to autocomplete and stuff that when I had to do this manually, I feel like a nerd until. So setup, okay, and now a template. Let's go. Yes, perfect. So I'm really lazy and I'm just gonna copy and paste the threads mesh here to not have it to write it everything again. Not the perspective camera though, that goes out. Maybe let's put another like position and we are going to use not torus, for example. Well, no, we should use a sphere. I'm so sorry about that. Let's use a sphere. Okay, so now if we go here and everything works as I expect, we can add the sphere here and maybe import it, of course. So sphere from sphere. Okay, okay, be node on the find why. Don't do that. Sphere. Oh, of course. Now we're talking. Okay. A little bit nervous. Don't worry. We got this. So here is the sphere. So as you can see, you can create subcomponents and organize your code in different objects. So this is amazing. For example, when you are creating a game, you can create a view component for a player and add all the models and all the like movement inside of it. And then if you have the floor, it's another component, and you can organize your code where in vanilla types, vanilla 3GS is a little bit harder. You have to create classes and such. So with this, I actually like, I will finish the demo. I have tons of videos explaining like the basics, so feel free to jump in into my YouTube channel. Um, Going back to the slides, this is all the explanation, and here I'm gonna publish also the slides. You can see the comparison between how you build it in in TresJS versus how it looks in 3GS. Too many trees. Okay, cool. Arguments we already talked about it. Props slut. So let's go to what I was mentioning before about the ecosystem. So TresJS is meant to be an ecosystem because we built the package, which is the core. And the idea of the core is that you can create everything with it. Like everything that you could do with 3GS, you can do it with this package. It's lightweight, it's basic, it gives you everything. But if you want to improve the developer experience and make it easy for you, we already have another package which is called cientos, and it's a joke because cientos is a word in Spanish that means 100. So the idea is tres cientos, terrible joke, but the idea is that you can have a bazillion different abstractions and composables that make your life easy, like loading models or textures and such. Right now, we're working on post processing, which we're going to release soon. You're going to see it in the roadmap. We have a Nuxt module, which was amazing collaboration with Danny Rowe. He basically built it live in his Twitch with me, and it was amazing. So if you want to use Trace in Nuxt, you can do it. And who knows, maybe your package can be part of the ecosystem. Something that I wanted to announce today is the roadmap from 2024. So I hope you can read it here. I try to put it in queues. So right now we're working on the core, okay, the version 4. A lot of a lot of new features like primitives, event handling in primitives, conditional rendering in primitives. Um, what else? A lot of focus on developer experience. So when I mentioned before, like last year was amazing for developer experience in terms of the Vue ecosystem. Nuxt DevTools, amazing. We released like a POC with the TresJS tab on the Nuxt DevTools. It went amazing, so people started to get hype about it, and we got we received a lot of like feature requests about creating Vue DevTools. So I also talked with the author, WebPlease, and for the Vue Dev tools, and we are also working on an integration for the official Vue Dev tools. We had the one for the previous one, and for the new one, we are already working on it. So the idea will be that between the first quarter and the second quarter, we enable a better developer experience, like editing your scenes, editing the graphs, checking like the properties of the perspective camera, and being able to modify your scene, checking the performance, how many frames per second are going, those kind of things. Cientos also is going to receive a new version. Something that I'm really happy is that the Chinese community is growing so fast that they requested, please, can we start translating the docs? So one of our like main priorities this year is make it that it can be translated in any language. Okay. We are gonna do the post processing. Let me check how much I take. I hope I have some few minutes more. So post processing as well. We are gonna launch it soon. It's almost ready. Fun stuff for Q3 and Q4. Since a lot of people is doing video games actually with the library, something that I didn't expect it at the beginning. We're going to work on an XR, like VR package to enable using TresJS for VR and also physics. So stay tuned for that. Some resources real quick. The documentations for TresJS Cientos. We have a playground with few samples of what you can achieve with this. We have a Stacklebiz collection, Discord, and the YouTube channel. So I want to thank all the contributors of the library. It has been an amazing first year, and it couldn't be possible without you. Thanks so much for your efforts and for contributing to Tres. Also, I want to thank our sponsors. We have two sponsors on TresJS, and in also in my personal sponsors, I have some of them that are allowing me to work on this after my job. Okay, so please, I cannot stress enough how important for is for authors of open source that you contribute, even if with a coffee, €5, whatever, that you can contribute to us is welcome. Okay. So yeah, thank you everyone, and I hope you like 3D on Vue. And let me know about your creations and share your creations with me on the Discord and Twitter.
Thank you. Love everything that you went through, and there are questions as
Oh,
always.
nice.
So, okay, number one, in your opinion, what is the most exciting advancements and possibilities you see for TraceJS in the future of 3D development within the Vue ecosystem?
So this is an amazing question because I like right now the developer experience, like the improvements in developer experience, especially the dev tools, opens a door for TresJS to provide better DX for 3D developers that want to try Vue. So that's one of the ones that I'm more excited about, and also trying to contribute it with it, like the Vue dev tools, the team that is working, like the core team, and also the contributors are doing an amazing job with the new one. The same for Nuxt, like the Nuxt dev tools is amazing for this. To be honest, I had to step up again to understand vapor mode. I don't know if it's something that we could use in in Tres. I honestly don't know, but in this conference, I saw the vapor mode and I was like, okay, I would love to see if we something that we could use with Tres.
Awesome. Thank you. And how can beginners get involved with the Trace community and access support when learning? And I'm like, I feel like this is the answer is Discord, but also, do you have tips and tricks for beginners?
Yeah, actually, I'm working on that because we are trying to label correctly in the ecosystem, like all the different issues that are better for good, like beginners, and good for issues. Something that I like to tell people that is starting open source and such is that you not necessarily need to fix anything, even if with documentation, helping, contributing with translations, for example. is super welcome. And then you can start with that, and then maybe you see a bug whenever you were creating your own experience, and then you can show, like, share your reproduction, and we tackle it and we see how we can fix it. So yes, Discord, the community in Discord is really welcoming. We have a lot of examples there, people building so many cool stuff that I will say, hey, play with the playground, enter the Discord. You can always ping us in Twitter and in other networks, but that's the best way. Like, and we will support you. Like, if you're, I don't know, building a Minecraft in the with TresJS, like, come here and we help you.
Great, thank you. I like that you're giving others ideas as well. All right. Can you share some common pitfalls or challenges beginners might face when working with Tris and how
Mhm.
to overcome them?
Yeah, that's an amazing question, because 3D can be intimidating at first. So one of our goals is try to make it easier for people with using Vue.js. So the common pitfalls at the beginning could be like not having that much knowledge about 3GS. So that could be solved by the videos and the documentation that we're trying to build, as well as the we're trying to do like a cook recipe where you can see, okay, if I want to add a model that I bought in Sketchfab or in the internet, and I want to add it into a web page, how can I do it, right? So like quick examples so you can start doing it and so on. But there is a learning curve, of course. It's not like creating UI interfaces. It's not as difficult as you might think. You will be surprised how easy it can get. Another challenge is performance, of course. Like, we are talking about rendering every frame per second, and reactivity in Vue is not as performant as plain objects. So we take a lot of that with us. But if you're using the on loop composable to animate something, for example, you have to be careful about performance. Mhm.
Thank you. All right. Is it important to, or is it difficult to import Rhino files for architecture related rendering?
Let me see Rhino files. Like Rhino 3D. I mean, we support all the file extensions that 3GS supports. So if there is a loader, I don't know if Rhino is actually a extension or is a software, but um, if 3GS allows it and it has a loader for it, you can extend the functionality in Tres to adapt that loader. We have a tutorial how to extend like the core functionality. So if that exists, yes, you can do it.
Great. Thank you. Uh, what topics and technologies did you need to learn before creating this amazing trace?
Oh, thanks for the amazing. Like, honestly, I love to hear that. What topics and technology? Well, I had to say that I was doing a Blender course. It's not mandatory though. I'm talking about my experience. I wanted to start creating 3D models, and then I start doing it in the web. But yeah, some topics about 3D, like the basics of 3D, like what are geometries, space, spatial, spatial special, yeah, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. You probably know a special, like how distance work in 3D and such.
Spatial?
Spatial, okay, thank you very much. Spatial. There is also shaders, but I don't think it's mandatory to understand. Like, you can go really gradual. There is a lot of knowledge to gain. I still learning. I'm not an expert in 3D at all, and so that's something that you can go as you journey with TresJS along.
Thank
And of
you.
course, a
Oh,
little bit of you will help.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Will it be possible to use WebXR device API and create VR and AR interfaces with TresJS?
Yes, that's the idea for the Q3. I actually like got some headset to start trying. There is somebody in the community that already created a demo and it works, but we need more contributors to be able to create. Like, we are four core team members. at the moment, and if we want to try it earlier, more help that we can get, the better. So yes, but it's in our plan for this year.
Great. And you mentioned Blender earlier. So, first of all, awesome talk. Eres un grande. Is it possible to use Blender custom models?
Yes, I actually thinking of creating a tutorial about how to create your own Blender custom model, export it, and add it to your web page. But as soon as it's FBX GLTF kind of file, you can do it.
Great. And last question. Where can we contribute to the translations of documentation, GitHub, and which languages are you prioritizing?
Okay, let me just copy the. Yeah, it's gonna be like I'm gonna handle that in the GitHub. We're gonna create a proper um, issue for the translation. There is already work by one of the core team with the documentation. Like he already prepared something, so we just need to set up the Netlify and stuff. But about the prioritization, it's true that a lot of the Chinese community has like asked for proper Chinese translation, and a lot of people has offered themselves to contribute to that. So that's gonna be one of the first ones that we're gonna enable. Also, well, English. I will do Spanish as well for the community in Latin America and Spain. If you want your language to be prioritized, just ping us up and let's see how we can do it. But I need people that are native language, so the translations are proper. Um,
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's really important for us. So thank you all.